Hello, hello, my emotional wisdom community. Okay, so today's conversation is going to be about synchronicity. Synchronicity, okay? We're going to be talking about synchronicity and the deeper meaning of synchronicity. Many of us in the, self-help, spiritual, if anything more in the spiritual, sector, we've learned to see synchronicities really as a sign, which indeed, synchronicities, if you're wandering around and you see constantly 111, 1111, you see it on the clock, 333, 444, other synchronicities, right, can be you're talking about an artist or an actor, and all of a sudden you go to the store and you're hearing singer's song comes on, or you walk into a restaurant where they have screens, right, TVs on, and all of a sudden you see that particular actor you were talking about, random in totally different places, right? You spoke about this person, or you thought about this person in another location, and all of a sudden you migrate over to a different location, and then you see either the artist's song, the actor's face on TV, or you see a movie that this actor is playing a role in, right? So that is synchronicity. That's one example of synchronicity. What is another synchronicity? There's multiple, okay? But really what tends to be a very popular one is seeing numbers, synchronistic numbers, having dreams of an event that you're going to attend, and all of a sudden, you wake up and then there's something similar to your dream, right? Or you're sleeping and you're dreaming of anything, for that matter, of a dog, of a pit bull, and all of a sudden you see a pit bull when you wake up. When you wake up and you're getting ready and you go to work, and all of a sudden you see a woman walking a pit bull, or you see the pit bull wandering around just randomly across the street. That is indeed synchronicity, right? That's like, that's interesting. That's kind of random. I had a dream of the pit bull. All of a sudden now I'm seeing pit bulls, right? What else? You're thinking of a person and all of a sudden, they call you, or, there's multiple ways that synchronicity can manifest into your life. But I'm going to narrow in. I'm going to focus on the main ones, which tends to be you're constantly seeing numbers, repetitive numbers. They're the consecutive 111, 333, 444, and that is something that has been really popular, right? Where people constantly can identify, well, that's random. I keep on waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, or I keep on waking up at 11:11 in the night, or whatever. I take a nap and I don't fail waking up at 2:22. Again, these are just some examples of synchronicity of you're at one place and you're talking about one thing, and all of a sudden you change locations and they have nothing to do with one another, but yet that topic that you spoke of is there one way or another, right? You're seeing whatever you were speaking of. Now, why did I want to go deeper? Why did I want to make this live and go deeper on the meaning of synchronicity, the deeper meaning? Because lately in the spiritual community, I'm going to narrow it to the spiritual community, they've been learning, right? Angels are speaking to you. It is your loved one that has passed. It's another, thing that they've said. All of that is indeed, could be the case, okay? But this is what I want you to understand. When you are seeing a repetitive number, or when something happens that you're one moment you're speaking of a topic that involves a particular person, place, or thing, and then you migrate over to another place, or you change sceneries, and all of a sudden you again see that person, place, or thing, or anything associated to that person, place, or thing. That is a sense of synchronicity. There's a connection there. There's a message there. Something is being brought to your attention. So of course, there's something greater that wants to communicate to you, right? Indeed, something greater, either be your angels, either be your spirit guides, if you believe in that, or your higher self, But the point is that I want to make is not always will a positive thing manifest, a positive reaction or reflection or outcome will manifest after watching all of these, or viewing or observing, noticing all of these synchronicities that you have going on. Okay, so very important to note, just because you're seeing all these synchronicities doesn't mean that the action that you're being led to take is going to actually yield a feel-good action, okay? But clearly, something greater, your higher self, your spirit God, spirit guides, angels, whatever you believe in, they want you to pay close attention. You want yourself, your higher self, wants you to pay close attention to what is happening to you. What is happening at that very moment. It is indicating that that is happening for a reason. But the end result of this magnetic north, that it's happening for a reason, doesn't necessarily mean that it has to feel good. It does not have to feel good. And I'm going to get into detail. I want to, give you an example of what I'm saying, okay? Because it happened to me, and I felt very betrayed by my higher self, my spirit guides, God. I felt very betrayed because I thought that all the synchronicities that I was having in terms of moving to Mexico was only going to yield more and more and more and more feel-good experiences, that I was going to achieve my dreams, so to speak, that my big break was going to manifest with this move to Mexico beginning January 2014. But that necessarily wasn't the case. However, that move was necessary to bring me to my own attention. It was necessary for me to observe the pattern that I was still stuck in, and the outdated belief system I was still honoring that was yielding uncomfortableness. Hopefully I'm making sense. So, again, I'm going to repeat because I really want this to cement. When you're noticing synchronistic events, things, persons, places, or things, and I'm saying this just to give you an overall, because there's no one way of synchronicity per se. Synchronicity really is when you're noticing something over and over, it's repetitive. You're noticing the same color, and then you're in one place, and all of a sudden that same situation isn't appearing in another place, and it's appearing in another. I mean, there's no really logical explanation as to why all these things are appearing before you, right, in different locations that necessarily don't have a correlation, if you will, the place that you're going to or the person you're visiting, yet you're still seeing whatever it is that keeps on coming up and popping up. So when you're having these moments, it is indeed a powerful moment for you. Yes, it is a huge, powerful moment, and a moment to reflect and observe and ask yourself questions such as, what is happening in my life right now? Where am I being guided? What am I thinking about? Was I thinking about a breakup? Was I thinking about a divorce? Is that what has been swirling in my mind and in my spirit, and all of a sudden I'm noticing all these synchronicities? What are you? So the first question you need to ask yourself is, what are you thinking of? What have you been pondering on? What emotional state are you in? What are you observing in your outside reality that all of a sudden you're seeing all these synchronistic events? What change are you making that you're seeing all these synchronistic events? Basically, ask yourself, what is happening in my life that needs my undivided and complete attention? First, what is happening in my life that needs my undivided and complete attention? Okay? Second thing I want you to know is make note and be completely aware that what you're about to experience in your life, the magnetic north that you're being led to, right? Your compass is telling you you're move forward and pay attention to what's happening, or just pay attention to what's happening, right? Something's happening here that's vital for your awareness, transcendence, integration, healing journey, or whatever you want to categorize it. But there's something happening to you before you that's vital for you. I want you to know that the awareness you're going to obtain not always feels good. So if you're seeing all these synchronicities and you're like, oh my God, this is my magnetic north, I feel so inspired, know that yes, this is a very huge moment for you, and you're being brought to your own attention through these synchronistic events. But it could yield an uncomfortable situation. You may be positioned in an uncomfortable situation at the end of the day. Why? Because that uncomfortable situation is a pattern that you need to observe within you. That uncomfortable situation is a pattern that is trying to come up for you to see and notice how it's been hindering your life. So you again there's something happening when the synchronicity is happening before you. Pay attention. It's vital for your awareness. But if then it results to an outcome that's very uncomfortable for you, it yields depression, sadness, anger, betrayal, disappointment, don't be upset per se at the synchronicities and why did the universe mislead me? Why did my spirit guides or angels or guardian angels lead me in the wrong direction? No. In fact, they're leading you in the direction you need to go. They're actually leading you into an awareness that you need most right now. And that awareness, 99% of the time when it's an uncomfortable one, it is for you to be brought to your own attention of the patterns you're still honoring that are creating your reality. I'm going to repeat that. If you're seeing synchronicities and all of a sudden you get hit with an uncomfortable incident, outcome, and your outer reality feels painful, you were supposed to be there. Nothing went wrong, per se. Your spirit guides did not betray you. Your God did not leave you behind. It just means that you, with those patterns, that the way you're operating, there's specific patterns that no longer are serving you and are creating what you just encounter. So that uncomfortable pattern within you, or rather said, that uncomfortable experience that you manifested, that was created before you, that you ran into, you created that through the law of manifestation, through the law of mirroring, through your unhealthy patterns, so to speak, the ones you're still not aware. So it is a perfect opportunity to lean into that, to say, okay, I was met with this disappointment, whatever that thing may be. Is this an emotion that I'm always feeling at the end of the day? if you notice that this disappointment seems to be repetitive and it's been a reoccurring experience in your past, it's not your first rodeo experiencing this disappointment. It's trying to show you that you are creating your reality, and your reality is being created by your dysfunctional, distorted wound pattern, internal pattern. And it is a wound. It narrows down to an internal childhood trauma. It is a wound that you are vibrating in, and you're essentially creating your reality through that wound, through that trauma that's fractured and needs to integrate and needs healing. So this video was intended for those individuals who only think that viewing and receiving synchronicities, noticing synchronicities, that should be coming out of them. No, that's not the truth. Good results could most definitely come out of synchronicities, most definitely. But good and bad, so to speak, is there for your benefit. Pain is needed in the equation of evolution and transcendence and integration. Pain is needed. Why? Pain is your indicator that there's something within that is yearning to be heard, seen, validated, merged with, healed, and balanced. And something that you need to outgrow, that like let go of, if you will. Okay? So pain really is your indicator that something needs to be addressed within. It is your indicator. It is what's saying, focus, it's time to go within and to detect what is creating this pain, because pain is the indicator for a new you, for change to emerge. Now suffering is when you do not act on the call of pain. If you choose to procrastinate in the change that you need to feel more free, to feel more better, maybe that divorce does need to take place. So pain is arising. It arises, right? The pain initially arose as to, oh my God, I think we're incompatible. We're different people and we're partying in different directions. But suffering will be when you're trying to make it work, when you're trying to fit that circle into the square. When you're trying to fit the circle into the square, that is suffering. You're not wanting to surrender to what is coming up. And so it creates into suffering and it morphs into suffering. No, now it's more painful, if you will. So anyway, looping back to synchronicity, I really wanted to do this video because a lot of people don't have the full story in synchronicity. They're under this impression that synchronicity is only going to yield a positive result, or feel good. It's only going to yield a feel good, something that I always wanted is manifesting. Yes, something you've always wanted is manifesting, but that can also look uncomfortable. That can also feel uncomfortable because you're being shown what part of you is holding you back from what you want. I'm going to repeat that. Yes, when you're seeing synchronicities, it is a huge opportunity for you and it is going to benefit you. It is the best present that you're going to give yourself if you seek to understand what's happening before you and not push it away if it's not a feel-good outcome. Whenever you're experiencing synchronicities, value everything that you're viewing, even the uncomfortable ones, the painful ones, the ones you feel disappointed or betrayed in. Why? Because they are what you've been waiting for. You are being given the opportunity to see what patterns are holding you back from what you really want. So if you indeed choose to understand that this is a message for you, it just didn't feel good. This one didn't feel good, right? It's still a message showing you what is holding you back from getting what you really want. And I feel that's huge. It's important for all of us to start understanding that because it happened to me. It happened to me, and I'm checking to see what time we have here in terms of of my live. I don't want it to last super long, but I will do a part 2, and I want to dive into how it manifested in my reality, how I felt super betrayed after seeing all the synchronicities that I can possibly get. I moved. Yes, my experience in Mexico with the community service and everything was pleasant for the first 6 months. Everything was going super smooth. All of a sudden, things started falling apart. And one of my biggest fears manifested, which brought me into a major depression because I felt ultimately betrayed by my intuition, betrayed by God. How can you allow this to have happened if I followed your call? If I followed my internal compass, my inner self, my dreams were telling me to move, who would have known that this result, this certain outcome was going to happen? So it was a huge disappointment where I couldn't trust synchronicities. I couldn't trust signs. I couldn't even trust myself for that matter. But it all made sense. I had to see the pattern that I was running away from, the aspect of me that I was denying still. And so it was the biggest opportunity of my life. And just to give you a little preview of what I mean, I would have dreams saying that I'm coming home. When you hear that, right, before any uncomfortable outcome manifests, you think that you're going to have a really euphoric, blissful outcome. Wasn't the case. But indeed was what I needed to come home and to see the parts of me that I was still rejecting and disassociating myself from. That will be on another video. Hopefully this makes sense with what I put out there. Please keep in mind, synchronicities are indeed an important opportunity. They are coming forth to tell you something very monumental about you, and that something is coming. But it doesn't always have to look or feel positive to be worthy and monumental and useful and necessary for you. In fact, one of the most painful experiences could be the most profound opportunity to make you skyrocket if you actually get the memo behind the uncomfortable experience. So with that, I leave you. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I want to do more lives. I want to interact. I feel like many more people need information. And I know that with my clients, I've been I've been effective. The awareness that I'm gifting them, it's making sense. They're receiving the missing piece to their puzzle. And I want you guys too to benefit, right? So, and now my team is growing, so I have someone to help me with my social media accounts. So it's going to help me immensely to give you guys free content. Anyway, with all the love and full acceptance, Josie.